for the late start. Prime Minister Fendel Stewart has encouraged local businesses to place an emphasis on service excellence to help spur growth. He made the comment while delivering the feature address at a ceremony to launch the Week of Excellence at the Grand Salle of the Central Bank.
High productivity, coupled with service excellence, are key to the growth and development of business in any economic sector. New clientele can be gained, and customer loyalty amongst existing clientele can be solidified if sufficient attention is paid to the issue of service excellence. These two factors not only stabilize, but also increase market share in a competitive environment, thereby leading to enhanced revenue streams and improvements in a company's bottom line.
The Prime Minister says businesses must also continue to look at ways to get feedback from customers to ensure that they are happy with the service given.
I further encourage businesses in Barbados to pursue proactive measures designed to assess and increase customer satisfaction, including the training of employees and the conduct of surveys to obtain feedback from clients on those aspects of service that need to be improved.
An assertion that if government is to put up money to help the financially troubled CLICO get its agricultural lands back in order, it should take charge of those assets. This call from Agriculture Minister Dr. David Estwick at a DLP meeting of its St. Michael Northeast branch at the Lawrence T. Gay Primary School. CLICO currently owns several plantations in St. John, many of which have dozens of acres out of production. Dr. Estwick says he's already spoken to his political colleagues on this matter.
My position is I want them compulsorily acquired. Because if we are going to have to put any money at all in CLICO to help with the policyholders, I want the land assets in the interest of the people of Barbados. Simple as that. Right? I've already spoken to my colleagues about it, and I will say it here because it's the truth. Right? Every one of those plantations that is not growing sugar can rotate with food, so it stay in bush. Yeah. So you can imagine the acreage that stays in bush when it should be rotating with all the crops and all the foods. Multiply that across Barbados if you were not to have an industry and rotate it with food and see what will happen with our food bill.
Dr. Estwick also says the Barbados Agricultural Management Company will be restructured, and it will be done along the lines of the recommendations of the Landell Mills report. That study, undertaken by the European Union, was conducted in 2010 and its recommendations made public in 2012.
They recommended that we should take BAMC out of the management of sugar factories, right? And let BAMC concentrate only on the agronomics with the ARVTU. So their job would be to do a better job on the plantations that they now have and help producing sugar across the board and crop rotation, food. The factories will now come out of their responsibility and go into a second company form known as the Barbados Cane Industry Corporation.
Unpaid slavery might be another factor hindering the development of Barbados. This from Principal of the University of the West Indies Cave Hill campus, Sir Hilary Beckles. He believes this factor is still prevalent and needs to be addressed if the country is to move forward.
The issue of 200 years of unpaid slave labor is yet to be addressed. And until it is addressed, this region will not move forward. Now, 1944. Today, no one associates Arthur Lewis with reparatory justice. No one associates Arthur Lewis as the intellectual founder of the theory of reparatory justice. But there he was. The issue of 200 years of unpaid labor to be addressed as the basis of the Caribbean seeking its own development.
Sir Hilary was speaking during an opening ceremony at the campus where it celebrated Research Week, which is now in its 5th year. There are a number of researchers were presented with campus and faculty awards for their contributions to the institution over the years. Sir Hilary spoke on the issue of those who have problems with naming buildings after contributors in the region. He says Caribbean states should maintain regionalism as it strengthens self-identity.
Nationalism is a contradiction within the Caribbean. Regionalism, internationalism are the foundations of this region. And so when people say we should not name our sports complex after Usain Bolt, it is a contradiction to who we are. It's a contradiction to what and who we are. And that's why we must stand our ground. This region makes sense only in terms of its self-perception as a regional space.
Culture Minister Stephen Lashley says there's still a lot of work to be done mentally and economically to empower Barbadians to accept their African ancestry. He made the comments at the launch of the United Nations International Decade for People of African Descent. In regard, suggesting that now is time to redouble efforts and take fresh guard on issues. The decade runs from the 1st of January 2015 until December 31st, 2024, and it has as its theme People of African Descent, Recognition, Justice and Development.
The government of Barbados welcomes the initiative of the Pan-African Coalition of Organizations and the Clement Payne movement to launch the decade. The government's launch and recognition of the decade, along with its outline of a decade of activities and its commitment of resources to programs developed by both government and non-governmental organizations, is proposed for April 14th of this year. It coincides with the annual launch of the Season of Emancipation that commemorates the Buster Rebellion and will be coordinated by the Commission for Pan-African Affairs and the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Youth.
Declaring that people of African descent must be able to take part in all aspects of society, Mr. Lashley says this launch will kick off major discussion on Afrocentric, national, regional and international issues called the Bridgetown Debate.
The first such debate will be on the topic, the challenges and opportunities of doing business with Africa in the short, medium and long term, and will support the efforts of the government's working group on trade with Africa that falls under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. The Commission for Pan-African Affairs, having gone through some reorganization over the last year, is now poised fully to re-engage with all of its programmers and stakeholders. You can therefore look forward to a re-energized commission rolling out its awareness and important initiatives in the coming months.
The same way the development of information and communication technology, or ICT, led to the creation of numerous jobs, the Minister of Labour is anticipating more opportunities will be opened up as Barbados moves towards developing a knowledge management system. According to Senator Dr. Esther Beyer, people who understand it will have a pivotal role to play in any organization, whether public or private. Provided for 20 people, and when completed, they will be certified. Barbados' knowledge management system is being funded by the European Union.
You start with them, and then later on we'll bring another cohort and then another cohort. You're not going to see everybody one-on-one in this kind of training, but the idea is then that training will trickle down and trickle through the organization.
Executive officers must see the need to train administrative staff to keep their product competitive and effective. This from the president of the Barbados Association of Office Professionals, Sandra Griffith Carrington. The president has extended an invitation to executives to accompany administrative staff to attend an upcoming conference, February 26th and 27th at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Center, as the program will benefit both parties.
Most persons recognize over the years, when you leave here at County Love, you're ready to make changes in the workplace. What we have found is that when you go back so energized, your executives are not on board. And we know that could be a turn off So this year we are appealing for our executives to come. Hence we chose him, and then because of the stress situation, we chose Marshall Lewis. Again, we want to help Barbados increase productivity.
The conference chairperson, Veronica King, says that presenters on the program will give special attention to financial management and how to manage workplace stress.
Whether you're planning for retirement, and as Sandra said, it begins in the first paycheck. I know people in the 50s are now looking at retirement, but we should have started that long time ago. And this is, and how to manage, you know, people say, I live from paycheck to paycheck. How you can really save something. Although we're in a recessionary period, we can still save and put aside a little something. So Ms. Wood would help us to see how we can do that without going to the bank every month end, or every week, rather, not month end, every week, to take a little something off, because when you take it off the savings, you don't ever get the chance to put it back on.
We'll have regional and international news after this break. Stay with us.